Welcome everybody to Yoga for Change. Tonight we're doing a 60-minute flow. The first 40 minutes will be a vinyasa, so more of a, I don't want to say fast pace, but flow, movement. And then the last 20 minutes will be restorative yoga, which is supported yoga on the ground with a bunch of props to support your arms and legs and back and that sort of thing. So the idea here is that we kind of get our body moving, kind of shake the snow globe, so to speak, kind of releasing any static energy, any stress, any frustrations that you're having at the end of your day. And then after we move and kind of get all that, we can then find some stillness and settle down. So tonight we're going to start on our feet. I like to start on our feet when we're going to end on our back. So if you'd like to come to the front of your mat works, but I like to be facing the long edge of my mat. And we're going to start in temple pose. So in temple pose, your feet are a little bit wider than your hips. Toes are turned out from your heels. And you're simply going to slide your hands down your knees as you bend your knees. What you might find here is that your knees are past your ankles, in which case I would encourage you to widen your stance. And what I'd like you to focus on here is really taking the weight of your body through your arms. So this is a passive stretch, a passive opening of your hips to start. And you can feel free to kind of shift your weight left to right, very slowly. And I want you to be leaning forward, so you're really pressing your hands into your inner thighs or kind of on the inside of your knees. And then on an inhale, I want you to find length through the crown of your head. You can kind of see how I'm rising up. On an exhale, drop your right shoulder towards your left knee. So finding some rotation, pressing your right hand into your right leg. And then inhale back to center. Exhale, left shoulder to right knee. Beautiful, you guys. Inhale to center. Exhale, switch side to right shoulder to left knee. Inhale to center. Exhale, left shoulder to right knee. Inhale to center. I want you to now remove your hands from your legs. Allow your legs to turn on. Bring your hands to heart center. I want you to make sure you kind of tuck your pelvis under as if you're drawing your pubic bone towards your spine. So now you can feel the difference between that passive resting on our legs. Now your legs are turned on. Couple deep breaths here. One more deep breath. And on your exhale, straighten your legs. Beautiful. So I want you to turn your toes in so they're in alignment with your heels. But our stance is still wider than our hips. We're going to come into something called horse flow. So imagine John Wayne getting off a horse. I think that's where this name comes from. I'm not 100% sure, but I imagine that's what it is. So I'll demonstrate real quick. We're going to do a basic flow. Inhale, arms up. Our knees stay bent. We're going to exhale, touch down, chest stays lifted, look forward. Inhale back up. Exhale, hands to heart center. Simple horse flow, okay? So all together, inhale, sweep arms up overhead. Exhale, knees bent. Keep your chest up, look forward, touch down. Inhale, come back up to standing, sweep arms overhead. Exhale, hands, heart center. Let's do that again. Inhale, sweep arms up. Exhale, touch down, knees bend, fingertips to the ground. Inhale, sweep up. Feel a sense of expansion there. Exhale, hands to heart center. One more time. Inhale, reach up high. Exhale, touch down, look forward. Knees are bent. Inhale, sweep back up. Exhale, hands to heart center. Beautiful. So you can begin to feel a little bit of heat as we start moving with breath. So that is what vinyasa is. It's we're going to start off with connecting one breath to one movement, so it'll be a little bit faster, and then we'll slow it down. So I want you to step to the top of your mat. Feet are about hips width distance apart. And then we're going to just work our way to downward facing dog with a sun salutation. So inhale, sweep arms up overhead. Slight bend in your knees. Exhale, dive forward, hinging from your hips. Fingers touch down. Inhale, halfway lift. Let fingers slide up your shins, look forward. Exhale, fold. Plant your hands, step all the way back to the back of your mat to downward facing dog. If you're not sure on the length of your downward facing dog, come to a plank and make sure that that is the appropriate length for your plank. And that's about how far your toes should be from your hand. So here, this is our first downward dog. Couple of things. I want you to think about first engaging all 10 fingers so that you're not sinking into your wrists. Second, I want you to really open your shoulders by trying to draw your head closer to your feet. Now, I'm not tucking my chin, but I'm opening my shoulders to really try to lengthen my back body. And then you can begin to pedal your feet. So bend one knee at a time as you drop the opposite heel towards your mat. You're just pedaling your feet, beginning to open your hamstring. As you begin to feel the backside of your legs, your hamstrings begin to open. Begin to allow both heels to come down towards the earth. On an inhale, begin to raise your right leg up towards the sky. On an exhale, you're going to step all the way through to your right thumb. Now, if you can't make that step through, a couple of tips. Want to round your spine as you pull through to create space. You can also use your hand to simply assist by grabbing your ankle. Then you're going to drop your back knee down, untuck your back toes. Inhale, arms come up overhead. We're in low lunge. Hands come down to your right knee. Deep inhale. Exhale, sink in, opening your left hip. So I'm trying to get my right knee forward. Inhale, back off. So shift your weight back. Exhale, sink in, open your chest towards the sky. Inhale, back off. Exhale, sink in. One more time. Inhale and exhale. Inhale, arms up overhead. Exhale, hands come down to frame your right foot. Tuck your back toes, lift your back knee. Inhale and step back to plank. Option to come down to modified plank to your knees. Exhale, lower all the way down to your belly. With control. Keep your hands there. Inhale, rise to cobra, pressing through your hands, tops of your feet. Head comes up last. Exhale, lower down. Tuck your toes. You're going to push up through tabletop, hands and knees, or plank. And then exhale back to downward facing dog. So we'll go through that same sequence on the left. Inhale, sweep the left leg up towards the sky. Exhale, step through to the left thumb. Right knee comes down, untuck the back toes, press down through that back foot. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, hands to the top of the left knee. Inhale, back off that low lunge. Exhale, sink in, opening the right hip. Inhale, back off. Exhale, sink in, shoulders back. One more time. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale, arms up overhead. Exhale, hands down to frame the left foot. Tuck your back toes, lift your back knee. Inhale, step back to plank. Option to come to your knees or exhale, lower all the way down, nice and slow. Chaturanga. Inhale to cobra, pressing through your hands, tops of your feet, head comes up laps. Exhale, lower down. Tuck your toes, push up through plank or tabletop. Exhale back to downward facing dog. Inhale, right leg up towards the sky. Exhale, step through to your right thumb. Take a quarter turn to the left side of your mat. So walking your hands around and straightening both legs. So you're in a wide leg forward fold. On an inhale, press through your fingertips, look forward, lengthen your spine. Exhale, bend your left knee to side lunge. Inhale to center. Exhale, bend the left knee. So we're staying on the left here. Inhale to center. Exhale, bend that left knee. Inhale to center. This time, exhale, walk your hands back around to the front of your mat to lunge. Inhale, step back to plank. Option to come to modified plank to your knees and exhale, lower all the way down. Pressing through your hands and the tops of your feet. Squeeze the shoulder blades, rise to cobra. Exhale, lower down. Tuck your toes. Inhale up through plank. Exhale back to downward facing dog. I'm going to turn around so you guys can hear me on the left. But inhale, sweep the left leg up towards the sky. Exhale, step through to the left thumb. Go ahead and walk your hands around to the right side of your mat now, straightening both legs to that wide leg forward fold. Inhale, press down through your fingertips, look forward, lengthen your spine. Exhale, bend your right knee to side lunge. Inhale to center. Exhale, bend the right knee. Fingers can move with you as you lunge to the side. Inhale to center. Exhale, bend the right knee. Inhale to center. Exhale, take that quarter turn back to the front of your mat to lunge. Inhale, step back to plank. With control, exhale, lower all the way down. Elbows hug in towards your rib cage as you lower. Inhale, rise to cobra. Shoulders away from the ears. Exhale, lower down. Tuck your toes. Inhale, push up through plank or tabletop. Exhale back to downward facing dog. One more round. Inhale, raise your right leg up towards the sky. Exhale, step through to the right thumb. Remember, you can use that hand as an assist. This time, inhale, round your spine. Exhale, now quarter turn to the left side of your mat. Straighten both legs. So you're in that wide leg forward fold again. We're gonna stay in the middle this time. Inhale, press down through your fingertips, look forward. And then exhale, fold any amount, allowing your head to hang heavy. Inhale, lengthen your spine, halfway lift, look forward. Exhale, fold any amount. Knees can be slightly bent if that's too much on your hamstring. One more time, press down through fingertips, inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale and halfway lift, but this time, take that quarter turn back to the top of your mat to lunge. Inhale and step back to plank. Option to come to your knees. With control and looking forward, exhale, lower all the way down. Pressing down through your hands and tops of your feet. Inhale, rise to cobra. Back bend. Exhale, lower down. Tuck your toes and push up through tabletop or plank. Exhale back to downward facing dog. Inhale, sweep the left leg up towards the sky. Exhale, step through to the left thumb. Inhale, round your spine like cat pose, if you're familiar. And then exhale, quarter turn to the right side of your mat. Wide leg forward, fold, flow. Inhale, lengthen your spine, look forward, pressing down through your fingertips. Exhale, fold, so hinging from your hips. Inhale, lengthen, look forward. Exhale, fold. Allow your head to feel heavy. Inhale, lengthen and look forward. This is our last fold. Exhale, fold. Inhale, lengthen your spine, look forward. Exhale, turn towards the front of your mat, back to lunge. Inhale, step back to plank. Last chaturanga or push up. So strong through your legs, strong through your arms. As you lower down, keep those elbows hugged in tight towards your ribs. Inhale, rise to cobra. Exhale, lower down. This time, you're gonna push up through tabletop, hands and knees, and sink your hips back to child's pose. So hips come back behind the knees, sinking towards your feet, and arms come forward. Knees can come wide here. That actually feels, I would say, better for most people. Nice, deep breaths. Take a moment to just notice how you're feeling. Notice your breathing, your temperature, your heart rate. Notice if you feel any different than when we began class. There's no right or wrong way to feel. Just taking a moment of mindfulness to notice what you're experiencing. On your next inhale, you can push back up to tabletop, hands and knees. And you'll walk your hands forward about one palm print, tuck your toes, send your hips up and back to downward facing dog. We're going to do that same transition to get to our next pose. So on an inhale, raise your right leg up towards the sky. Exhale, step through to your right thumb. You're going to drop your back knee down. So option, if you have tender knees, you're on a hardwood floor like me, you've had a couple knee surgeries like me, feel free to use your blanket to pad your back knee since we'll be here for just a minute now. So we're in low lunge. On an inhale, sweep arms up overhead. I want you to think about drawing your shoulder blades down your spine and towards your spine. So notice I can reach my arms up and it's kind of hugging my shoulders towards my earlobes. I'd rather you pull them down away from your ears so that you can feel your shoulder blades retract towards midline. With each exhale, I want you to allow yourself to sink deeper into this pose. So you're really opening that left hip. Two more deep breaths here. And then bringing your hands down to your mat, I want you to bring them to the inside of your right foot. So you can feel free to heel toe your right foot out more towards the edge of your mat. So we're creating space. We're coming into a pose called lizard. So if you're not familiar, this is a deep hip opener, but it's also deep hip flexion. So on my right leg, I'm in very deep hip flexion. On my left, I'm in hip extension. So there's a lot of resistance you may feel in your body, and that's normal. If you're here with your palms down, this is the first option as an expression of lizard, okay? Another option, if you feel that this is not challenging enough, would be to use a block, or maybe better yet, I'll use a pillow to demonstrate, is coming down to your forearms on any prop or even the ground, if that's accessible to you, okay? I personally love my block here because it gives me a little bit more stability. And this is just a way to deepen the pose. It's not necessary. So if you are okay up here on your palms, stay there, okay? And it's okay if your right knee is starting to kind of fall open to the side because we're working towards a hip opening peak pose today. And so it's okay that that hip is wanting to open into abduction. If I were teaching you something like crow pose, I might tell you to hug your right knee in towards your right shoulder. So that would be working on adduction. I want you to just notice where your mind goes here. This is definitely a pose where I feel mental resistance. I think a lot of people do. Where you begin to have thoughts like, how much longer? When are we getting out? And I want you to just stay with that and know that you can breathe through it. If you're on a prop, I want you to begin to push up to your hands and then transition your hands to your mat, moving your prop off to the side. You're here on your palms in lizard. I want you to tuck your back toes, lift your back knee. So we're now in lunge with our hands on the inside. You're simply going to walk your hands around to the left side of your mat, taking that quarter turn to wide leg forward fold again. So now is a chance for you to explore this on your own. And what I mean by that is there's a couple variations here. You can reach your hands out towards your ankles and just simply allow your head and neck to hang heavy. Nice option to make sure you're not tensing your neck is simply nodding your head yes and no. You can also walk your fingertips back behind you through your legs. And if neither of those feel like a good option, you can place your fingertips down in front of you for a little more support. The idea here is we're opening the hips, opening the hamstring. You can also flow side to side between that side lunge that we did before. So your choice to kind of tune into whether you need movement or stillness here. And then wherever you are, begin to walk your fingertips out in front of you. And on an inhale, press down through your fingertips, look forward. Exhale, take a quarter turn back to the top of your mat to a lunge. Inhale and step back to plank. And this time we're gonna simply exhale back to downward dog together. We're gonna transition to that same sequence on the left. So inhale. Slowly sweep the left leg up towards the sky. Exhale, step through to the left thumb. Drop the back knee down, the right knee. Adjust the position of your blanket if you need. You can untuck those back toes for a little more stability. Pressing down through both feet. Inhale, arms up overhead to low lunge. Again, with each exhale, allowing your right hip to open just a little bit more. Keeping your shoulders away from your ears, so drawing them down. And then squeezing the shoulder blades together towards your spine. One more deep breath here. And on your exhale, bringing your hands down to the inside of your left foot. And again, walking your left foot out towards the edge of your mat. Beginning to transition to lizard. So option one, again, is just keeping the palms down. Using a block or a prop to come down to your forearms would be another option. And if you're very flexible, coming down to your forearms on the ground is the third option. Now that you know what lizard pose is, I want you to just find a moment of stillness here. You're noticing a lot of physical resistance in your body. I invite you to turn your awareness to your breath. It's almost a way to kind of trick your brain into focusing on something else. And that helps you to tolerate discomfort. Whenever we stretch, we'll experience some amount of discomfort. However, this should not be painful. So if you're feeling pain, then you are probably in an expression of this pose that is too deep for you. And I encourage you to back off and find your edge. So your edge meaning something that you're feeling pushed, but it's sustainable. When you're ready, if you're using a prop, begin to press back up to your hands. Move the prop to the side. Come to your palms on the mat. You're gonna tuck your back toes, your right toes. Lift your back knee. Then you're gonna take that quarter turn again to the right side of your mat, straightening both legs. And maybe exploring a different version of this wide leg forward fold. So if you were moving before, maybe trying to find some stillness this time. And if this feels like too much on your hamstrings, you can always keep a slight bend in your knees. An option to even cradle your elbows as you hang. Your upper body is really just kind of draped forward. You're really allowing gravity to almost do some kind of cervical traction. Release your neck. Again, option to shake your head slowly side to side. Yes and no. Legs are really active, toes are active. And then whatever version you're in, begin to come to the center. Pressing your fingertips down in front of you. And I want you to simply heel toe your feet in together towards midline. If your blanket's in the way like mine, feel free to just move it. Moving your feet in towards each other so that we're in a forward fold with your feet about hips width distance apart. So again, allowing your upper body to drape over your thighs and hang heavy. The more of a bend you keep in your knees, the more you'll feel your low back can release. If you're trying to really straighten your hamstrings, straighten your knees to stretch your hamstrings, you may feel a sense of pulling on your low back if you have any tightness there. Then releasing your hands down to the ground and simply coming down to your knees here. So we're on hands and knees, and then you can sit up for just a moment. Nice job, you guys. So whenever you do a forward fold like that, you're in an inversion. So you're upside down. You may have a sense of like the blood rushing to your head or away from it and now back to your heart. So I like to give a minute to kind of let everything settle. Especially up here at 10,000 feet, I tend to feel the inversions a lot more. So we're ready for our peak pose tonight, which is called Mandukasana in Sanskrit, or frog pose. There's a couple ways to get into this. I'm going to show you my favorite way. I like to fold my mat like this. So I'm folding the ends of my mat towards the middle, and I'm kind of sitting on my knees between. So let me demonstrate, and then you can kind of figure what works for you. So I'm going to bring my knees wide to the folded part of my mat, and that folded part of my mat does two things. One, it gives me a little more cushion on my joints, and the other is the bottom of my mat has rubber, so it also keeps my knees from sliding, whereas if you did this on this hardwood floor, you might end up in the splits. It wouldn't feel as controlled, okay? in frog, we want your knees are out wide. This is a hip opener. My feet are behind me. My ankle is in line with my knee. And then my toes are turned out to this side, okay? So I want you to come to that part of this pose. And if you're able, you can come down to your forearms here. And once you're there, I want you to explore slowly, shifting your hips back any amount. So if someone were to walk in this room and look at the shape of my lower body, they might see the letter M or W, the way that I am positioned with my legs and my pelvis. The more you shift your pelvis back, the deeper the stretch on your hips, on your adductors, so the inside of the legs. If that's too much, you can shift your weight forward a bit. But frog should not be a pose that feels super comfortable, right? So one of the ways that yoga can translate to life is that we're exploring our ability to tolerate discomfort. And I don't know about you guys, but I feel there's a lot of discomfort, right, going on in the world right now for various reasons. And our ability to physically tolerate discomfort, when we can do this, when we can sustain a pose that feels challenging, uncomfortable, too much, it helps us build resilience. So we learn that we can do this. Now, if for some reason this feels too easy, you may need to work on shifting your knees a little bit wider. And I encourage you to shift your weight to your forearms or hands as you do that. If you're on your forearms and you feel you have a little bit more, you can come down to stack your forearms and place your head, your forehead resting on your stacked forearms. Sometimes that feels accessible to me. Tonight it does not. So this is a moment for you to kind of tune into your own body. Couple more deep breaths here. And then to transition out of this, I want you to begin to army crawl your forearms forward to come down to your belly. And then you're simply going to walk your legs together behind you so that you're laying prone on your belly. You can stack your forearms and then rest your head down for just a moment. Begin to draw your hands underneath your shoulders. And you're going to simply push up to hands and knees to a seated position of your choice. Nice job, you guys. So go ahead and unroll your mat if you folded it up like I did. You made it. So we've moved, we've stretched, we've breathed. Now we're going to rest. So restorative yoga is like conscious rest. So what I'd like you to do is kind of locate your props, your 2 pillows and blankets. And if you've not yet rolled up one of your blankets like a tortilla, take a minute to do that so you can kind of see my blankets rolled up long ways. I'm going to place it in the middle of my mat towards the top of my mat. And then I'm going to place my pillows beneath that, and my pillows are perpendicular to my mat, okay? What you're gonna do is transition your bottom, your seat, between the pillows and the blanket behind you. We're gonna come into a pose called spine lengthening pose. My legs are draped over the pillows so that my knees are supported. And the base of the rolled up blanket is touching my low back, okay? I'm gonna use my hands behind me to slowly come down onto the blanket so that it runs lengthwise along my spine. Now, if you come down to this posture and it doesn't feel good on your low back, I want you to scoot your hips a little bit further from the blanket and down closer to the pillows. If you're comfortable there, hands come down by your side, away from your hips, palms face up. This posture should feel a sense of opening across your chest. And that blanket that's running up and down your spine creates kind of like a mini back bend here. You might feel your shoulder blades drop towards the earth, towards the blanket. You want to make sure that your neck is supported. So if you can, I want you to draw your chin down towards your chest as if you were trying to make a double chin, and that will create length through the back side of your neck. You may notice that it feels difficult to stay still after you've just been moving, using strength and endurance to move your body against gravity. And yet now I'm asking you to surrender to gravity. To allow every part of your body that's touching the earth to feel heavy. Your heels, your glutes, your hips, your arms, your head, your shoulders, I want you to turn your awareness towards your face for just a moment. Notice if you're holding tension anywhere in your face. And see if you can allow that to soften. Your jaw, even separating your teeth, your tongue, allowing it to soften into the back of your throat. Your eyebrows. The space between your eyebrows. Your eyelids. Your forehead. And even the top of your scalp, the top of your head. You can allow it to soften. allowing your body to surrender to gravity. Allowing the earth below you to completely support you so that you feel held and safe. Supported. Really allowing your breath to flow effortlessly from inhale to exhale, back to inhale. No sense of control or stagnation. No need to hold your breath. Sometimes we need an actual reminder that it's safe to breathe. It's safe to fully exhale. That there's nothing you need to do right now. Nowhere to be. Know that whatever experience you're having is the right one for you tonight. There's no particular way you're supposed to feel or experience this practice. It's really just an opportunity for you to take rest and notice. You should begin to deepen your breath, bringing gentle movement to your fingers and toes, just wiggling them. Bending one knee and then the other, placing your feet on your pillows. I want you to move your right hand out to the side so you can kind of feel where the floor is beneath you. You're going to roll off of your blanket to the right. You can use your right arm like a pillow, your right bicep, to just lay in the fetal position for a moment on your right side. With your left hand in front of your heart, begin to press down into the ground and come up to a seated position. I'm going to transition to restorative frog pose. So I want you to take your rolled up blanket, I'm going to place it in the opposite direction. So horizontally across the middle of your mat, approximately the middle. Then you're going to stack your pillows up in the middle of your mat, about where your feet might land if you're laying face down. So we're gonna have to kind of adjust. The best way to get into restorative frog is to come onto hands and knees over this blanket. You're gonna come down to the blanket so that it supports your pelvis. So you might have to move it down a little bit. And then you're gonna bring your feet to the tops of the pillows with your knees bent out to the side. So I'm bringing my heels or the soles of my feet together to rest on top of the pillows. So knees are out wide. If you need to sit back up to push your pillows further away, you can do that. But make sure that your props are supporting you in a way that actually feels like you can get a moment of rest. You're gonna stack your forearms here and you can turn your head to one side. So just notice that this is the restorative version of the same pose we just did that felt so much more intense. And this is a much more passive and gentle, supported version of that same posture. As I mentioned before, that frog is kind of a pose of surrender, right? When we encounter resistance, we have a couple of options of how we can deal with it. And one of those options is surrendering to that resistance that you feel, whether that's physical or mental. I love the idea that surrender is giving up what we think should be happening for what is happening. If you have your head turned to one side, I invite you now to turn it to the other direction, just for a sense of balance. If you have thoughts that keep arising, that are causing you worry or distress, just know there's nothing you need to do to change them. You simply observe them as if you were standing on a riverbank and just watching things float by in the river. I invite you to bring your head back to neutral. And draw your hands underneath your shoulders. Bring your feet off the pillows and down to the sides of the pillows so that your legs are straight behind you now. Then you can begin to push up to hands and knees to come out of this pose. We're going to set up for our final pose tonight, which is called basic relaxation pose. And the best way to do this is to first grab your folded up blanket, which we haven't used yet tonight. And I want you to place it at the top of your mat, and that will support your head. Your pillows are going to come back to the same position that you had them in for spine lengthening pose. Those will support your knees. And this time, your folded up blanket, your tortilla blanket, will go towards the end of your mat, and that will support your ankles so that your feet will float. So you're simply going to bring your bottom close to the pillows so that your knees are draped over. And you're going to want to bring that rolled up blanket under your ankles, so not your heels will float. You're going to use your arms to slowly come back down to your back. You can adjust your folded up blanket to really support your head. You can even roll the bottom of it up to support your neck, like a cervical pillow, if you're familiar with those. Hands come out to your side, away from your hips, palms facing up. I'm going to allow your legs to kind of naturally fall open to the side and a bit of external rotation. Before we transition to our final minutes of silence and stillness, we'll do a little bit of breathing together. We're going to do a breath called Samavriti, which means same fluctuations or equal breaths. We're going to breathe in and out for the same count of 5. So all together, we'll empty our lungs to start. So deep inhale through your nose. Open your mouth and sigh it out. Let's do that one more time. And audibly let it go. This time, inhale through your nose. 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale through your nose. 2, 3, 4, 5. Inhale. 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale. 2, 3, 4, 5. Continue on your own for 4 more rounds. And adjust the count to your pace. When you've completed your 4 rounds of breath, just return to normal breathing, whatever that is for you. And just allow yourself to really enjoy these moments of stillness and quiet.
Begin to deepen your breath. Bringing your awareness back to your physical body. Gently wiggle your fingers and toes. And inhale, sweep your arms up overhead like a morning stretch. Perhaps bending your knees again one at a time, placing your feet on the pillows. And then rolling to your right side again for a moment in the fetal position. Pressing down with your left hand in front of your heart. Push up to a seated position. You can use any props you'd like. We're just going to meet and seated in easy seat with our legs crossed and our hands at heart center. I have a little quote I like to end my classes with, a reading. I feel this is really relevant to what's going on in the world right now and a lot of the things I know that we're all confronting in our lives. So this is from a book called The Yamas and the Yamas, which is Exploring Yoga's Ethical Practice by Deborah Adele. So if this is of interest to you, you're interested more about philosophy behind yoga, it's a great book. So Deborah wrote, "A person of substance is willing to stay present in life, no matter what its initial unpleasantness. They know that staying present with the truth of the moment will add more depth to their lives and grow them up to be creative and responsible. When we are centered in the moment, we can fully meet the ordinariness of life as well as the challenges of life. There is profound courage to this kind of willingness to be raw with reality as it is, rather than to run from it or construct a barrier to soften it." So as we end this practice tonight, and all of our class donations will be going to Color of Change, I hope that we can be brave enough to stay with the raw reality of life as it is right now, and that we are brave enough to experience the full human experience of our everyday lives. May the efforts of our practice tonight be of service to all beings everywhere, especially to those whose lives we directly touch. The light in me sees and honors the light in each of you. Namaste. Thank you guys for being here.